coffee, tobacco, and a phone camera. So, this was almost a tweet, and then I decided it'd probably just be easier to record a video and post it. So, we'll do that. It's a phrase we all hear a lot lately. I want to be on the right side of history. I need to be on the right side of history. I need it known that I'm on the right side of history. Not a single person who is a good, moral human being is concerned about being on the right side of history. So if you're a public figure who's concerned about being on the right side of history, I question what you're actually doing. If you need the validation of people who believe that the ends justify the means, you shouldn't be a public figure. Let's face it, public figures who state the ends justify the means, or that they are on the right side of history, tend to be authoritarian, violent, and oppressive, which all are the same word, I guess, when it comes to government. So, hearing that a former Pennsylvanian who moved to Tennessee and swears she was never from Pennsylvania, although she's from Mechanicsburg, needed to be on the right side of history. And then to hear that same individual say, it's not your father's Republican Party, is kind of hilarious. Because the political factions are supposed to change with the times, but the political faction that I'm going to assume she is allied with hasn't changed at all. All they've done is figured out how better to lie to the people they like to oppress. So, fun. But anyone who's concerned about being on the right side of history and being known to be on the right side of history is really just concerned about what happens when those powerful people actually take control. Because if you aren't with those people, you will be persecuted. We've seen it time and time again in human history. Those who stand up for themselves and their beliefs do tend to get persecuted, especially when a social contagion has taken root. And we've also seen that most of those social contagions lead to massive turmoil. Massive turmoil. Destroyed countries. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, dead. Destroyed economies. But don't worry, guys, because if you were on the right side of history, we always say that the victor writes history, right? And it's very true. In fact, I think Norm Macdonald had a joke about it. He was like, yeah, I read history and I realized, thank God, that only the good guys ever won wars. We can laugh about it because it's a true statement, because when the victor writes the history, they're the good guy. I mean, even here in the United States, we have that self-aggrandizing view. We won. We were right. In certain cases, we had to make terrible and horrifying decisions, like dropping the bomb on Japan. Well, both bombs. horrifying thing to do. Hard decision to make. Was it because Russia needed to know that we had the bomb? No, because Russia already knew we had the bomb. Most people disregard the fact that we had fought a war against communism in Russia shortly after World War I. We sent a bunch of our soldiers to Russia to help the White Russians. And when I say White Russians, I literally mean their faction. The White faction. That's right. Stopped you before you got on the table, cat. Yeah, freak out somewhere else. Sorry. She ran. Anyway, the White Russians were the ones who wanted to restore the royal family. Although, damned if the communists made sure that wasn't even possible. But the United States, having dealt with communism in the United States in the 19-teens, saw this as a danger and said, hey, and sent soldiers to fight Leninist forces in Russia. You know, we were on the right side of history there, but so were the Russians, right? So were the Leninists. They were on the right side of history too. So saying, hey, we're on the right side of history is kind of stupid, but we knew, Stalin knew we had the bomb. We'd known that for a while. In fact, Stalin knew shortly after the Casablanca conference that we were working on the bomb. Why? Because he had spies. We had the Red Scare in the 1930s. This is another fun fact about the 1930s. You probably don't know this. There was a Hitler Youth in the United States, just like there were communist groups in the United States. Did you know that there were a bunch of riots in the 1930s concerning communism and fascism, and it was Americans fighting Americans in American streets? No, probably not. Then again, most people don't know much about our history anyway. They're taught a bunch of bullshit that isn't factually correct. They're taught that by the government because, you know, the government doesn't actually care about being factually correct. They like being right, and they like altering things. How many of you call the United States a democracy? Pretty much damn near every single one of you. We're a democracy, but we're not. We have never been. And the only part of our government that ever practiced direct democracy were the militias. In fact, there's only one unit in the United States Army that still actually operates off a direct democracy, and that's a cavalry troop. The oldest cavalry troop in the U.S. But hey, we're not going to drag them into this, because they haven't done anything wrong. But those right side of history celebrities, all they're doing is ensuring that if their either preferred or feared side wins, they won't be persecuted right away. They'll eventually be persecuted because every authoritarian government persecutes its own people once they get rid of the people that they convince their fellow citizens to persecute. The Nazis, the Nazis, the Nazis. You know the first people to persecute Jews in Germany were Germans. Not just Nazis, Germans. Now, after the war, those Germans weren't Nazis apparently. They were never Nazis. They just went along with it. And that's a very touchy subject in and of itself. But they thought they were on the right side of history when they committed atrocities. They felt they were doing the best thing for themselves and their nation by killing their fellow citizens, imprisoning, stealing the wealth of, persecuting their fellow citizens. And it's funny because that same shit is happening in the United States now. Now, we do have a history of this, although it was pre-United States. We did not give the Loyalists anything. In fact, we stripped the Loyalists of their property and their wealth and then shipped them off to Nova Scotia after the peace treaty, the Paris Treaty, in 1783. Nope. You guys aren't Americans. You're Loyalists. You're British, and you being within our territory so shortly after we have gained independence is a threat to our nation. So, we took all their shit and we sent them away. Nowadays, in the current political climate, it is a serious issue, is that even if one of the two sides wins out in this culture war, one of those two sides won't persecute and deport their political rivals, whereas the other will imprison and eliminate their political rivals. If you are concerned about who is going to do this, I don't know what to tell you, because you really should already see it. Our government is already persecuting political rivals. If you think that our justice system is actually a functioning justice system in which every single citizen in the United States is held to the same standards, you are fucking out of your mind. The Secret Service destroyed evidence. That's right, you heard me correct. The Secret Service destroyed evidence. They got rid of the coke they found in the White House. Just destroyed it. No fingerprints done. I mean, shit, they don't even know who did it, which is bizarrely infuriating. And I say bizarrely because they know who did it. There is no way in hell they don't know whose coke that was. They're just not going to tell you. Apparently there's been marijuana found at the White House. Now I, myself, who the fuck cares? It's marijuana. It's still federally illegal. It's still in the White House. I mean, if I were president of the United States, that'd be 4 years. I wouldn't be smoking weed. Just wouldn't be doing it. Why? Because, I've got a fucking job to do that requires me to be on my fucking game the whole time. But, apparently these things that get regular citizens imprisoned for years and years on end don't affect the people at the highest levels of government who routinely abuse their authority and disregard the law. But it's okay, guys. They're on the right side of history because they expect to win. So, they'll be safe until the political rivals of their side are all eliminated, and then all of a sudden, well, these people. The right side of history. Bet you Andrew Jackson thought he was on the right side of history when he caused the Trail of Tears. Sorry, guys. I really do have a hard time keeping Democrats out of things. Especially when it comes to the shit. The horrifying shit that the United States has done. It's hard to separate horrifying shit from Democrats in our history. Really hard. Really hard. But hell, history is not kind whatsoever. It is, however, altered. Another thing I've been seeing a lot of lately is people blown away by the real facts of slavery. As if ancient history didn't exist and the start of the United States, the start of all history, and obviously the United States is guilty of the most evil crimes in the world. Slavery has existed for the entire history of our species. That's the nature of our species. If we can conquer something and control it, we do that. Shit. We looked at nature and said, ha ha! And now, as we completely destroy forests, massive amounts of forest all over the world, we're sitting there wondering why CO2 levels are up. Without realizing, we've killed everything that actually naturally deals with the CO2 levels. But those people coming out of the cities need to destroy entire forests just to make their little shit houses where they cramp themselves in and then complain about how the roads around there aren't big enough to deal with the traffic because they fucked everything up by destroying forest and moving in. This is not to say I don't like people coming into neighborhoods, new people coming out to find a better place for them to live, but they need to realize that they're part of the problem when they're completely altering communities that have existed for a long time. You move to a place because it's better than the place you left, and then you vote for the same shit that ruined the place that you left in the new place that you moved to. But it's okay. You're on the right side of history. That's infuriating. Our species is so goddamn ignorant. So goddamn ignorant. But yeah, it's tough going. Tough going. But infuriating to see people who really should stick to why they're famous involving themselves in other things. You're great at singing, congratulations. It doesn't mean you're going to know anything about politics whatsoever. You're a great lawyer, congratulations. You're probably not going to be able to fix an engine. I'd say you're a wonderful writer, but we haven't seen those in so long because there's not a single original thing being made in entertainment anymore. They're just recycling old intellectual properties into weird, fucked up versions of their former selves, like a skin suit. It's a skin suit. Oh, hey, I like that. Let me put that mask on and then pretend to be this character and completely destroy it. Thanks, Seth Rogen, you fucking piece of shit. Not there's Seth Rogen, but he went after one of the greatest intellectual properties from my lifetime. And he's fucked it up because, it needs to be this way, and if you don't like it, you're a racist. No, I just like the original characters, the original story, and how that all played out. And up until you came along, everybody followed the same thing and kept those characters as those characters. But then you came along with your stupid fucking Canuck ways and screwed it up. Go back to Canada, Seth. Go back to Canada. Because you're a fucking idiot, and Canada's already done what you want to do here. So just go back to your own country and enjoy what you want to vote for here, in a country that's already implemented it all. It's that simple. Stop fucking up shit. Stop thinking you're on the right side of history as you drag us into another fucking terrible time. Just because you feel justified to drag us into another fucking terrible time.
I'm on the right side of history. The right side of history.
Even the cat is giving me a deadpan look for saying such a stupid line. Cats are fucking demons, so she knows what's up. It is frustrating. But, you know, maybe one day I'll find a way to be ignorant of things. Maybe I'll find a way to forget all of the knowledge that I've learned in my lifetime. All the life lessons, the lessons learned from other people's mistakes in history and that sort of thing. Maybe I'll find a way to forget all of that. And just go back to being ignorant and saying, oh, this sounds nice, so I'm going to vote for that, instead of, that's not legal, it's not possible, it's unconstitutional, it can't be done. Like debt forgiveness by the executive branch. They're on the right side of history. They're on the right side as they completely ignore the very rules that govern their conduct. Huzzah. Huzzah. Have fun.